So in Salesforce, when the app's deployed, you've got in the top left corner your app switcher, and there's a couple of ways you can work. So you can use the Telflow app. You can go into that. That'll take you to the opportunity page and those sort of things. You can also just use the app, our app capabilities through the other Salesforce apps as well, such as Service. So say, for example, I navigate to our accounts here, and you can see I've got a number of accounts that are set up here. And if I choose, say, Tailwind Communications, so these are just standard Salesforce screens, and we're on the account one at the moment. We can see that we've got an opportunity that's been created here for Tailwind, the Australian sites. So what I can do here, for example, is just click New. This is a standard opportunity screen from Salesforce. We'll just set the close date. We'll say New Zealand sites. We'll give it a stage, proposal price quote. Our account is Tailwind, and we can save this. So there's our new opportunity here that we can see through the account tab. And if we go and open that, we get a new tab at the top there, New Zealand sites. Again, this is a standard Salesforce screen, but you can see that there's a new quote button up here, and this is what we've effectively added in that lets you get into the Telflow CPQ capability within the app. So we'll click New Quote. That sort of pre-fills your name. You've got a number of different types of quotes. We've only got one deployed in this environment actually at the moment. It's just called a voltage solution. So we'll say this will be our internet only. So that's the name of our quote, and we'll save that. Okay, so this takes you now to the quote screen, and this is pretty well all Telflow capability here. So we've got quote details at the top that we haven't added. We've got our quote items that are sitting here. We haven't added those. We've got our sites that are on this order down the bottom. Attachments. So if you add anything here, it'll be uploaded to the Telflow backend and be shareable between the Salesforce app and the people working in Telflow. And then the inventory. So here you can see this customer actually has 2 active inventory already. So they've got a Voltage Internet Extreme product over here at Day Street, and they've got another Internet Extreme product over at Glover Road. So first off, we can add in some quote details. This is completely configurable. You can set this to, whatever you set these forms up to be whatever you want. And so we'll just make a couple of edits there and click Save. You can already see that we've got our Telflow sort of entity already created, and you can navigate to see that if you want. You've got some general actions up here, or we can clone this quote. It's not very interesting at the moment, so we'll add some things and we'll clone it in a minute. There's now this menu at the top, and so this actually lets you search multiple address sources. So you can customize some of the labels here, but effectively this database search is your on-net database. So that searches all your GIS or your address system. If you choose Google Maps, well, that's a Google Maps search. And if you choose custom address, well, that's you almost just choose a point on a map. And so that's quite useful for some of our customers that do a lot of work that in non-standard locations where it might just be, a traffic pole somewhere or a part of, a box on the side of a train track. You don't have, a structured address for that. You just got some geocodes. We'll start with a database search. We'll say, search for something 400 Papa Road, Hamilton. So this is a New Zealand address set that we've currently got here in our address database. So, I can select that. If we go and check site here, what this does then is take your primary address that you've just located and then starts washing that against your suppliers. This works exactly the same way as it does in Telflow. The primary address, you get an exact match here straight away, and it automatically gets selected because this is effectively your on-net database. If you had NBN Co and Telstra and Optus here, you'd see them down here in additional panels, and you may not get matches straight away. You'll have to sort of manually resolve those. We'll go ahead and qualify it. So once again, you can see here from from Telflow that's been configured, we've got a serviceable address. If you've got multiple address providers here, you'll have a stack of multiple results pop up in this column, and you'll be able to see, okay, which carriers are giving you serviceability at this site. So we'll add that site in. So let's go and add an item in. So I'm going to select the product, and we're going to go for we've got some point-to-points, we've got some VPNs. I'm going to select this product called Voltage Internet Extreme. It's serviceable at the site we've just added. So I can give this a name. I can give it a reference if I want. So here you can see we've got some of the order attributes. You know, I can ask if I want to expedite a delivery. I can put in a site contact. And then we've got our actual product configuration here. So I can choose my bandwidth, routing protocol. I can choose my SLA class. You can see as we're choosing these sort of attributes, on the right, we've got our products pricing, popping up. So for example, if I add a firewall, so we've got our NAT enabled and the capacity is, well, let's change it to medium. So we've got our medium capacity to $80 a month there. We can add in IP addressing, DDoS. We've actually got a couple of types of DDoS configured here, an advanced one and a basic one. We've got advanced with, we can choose automatic migration. And so you can see all those sort of charges popping up as this is configured. We've got our SLA, and we've got a number of reusable components that can be, placed into many of your offers, and they'll come in with their, with their pricing. I can select my contract term here, 12 months, 24 months, or none. So I might be happy with this, this particular order. So I'll submit that. This will take me back to my quote now. And so you can see I've got my line item here with all the various charges. Now, say if I want to, we'll actually just have two of these. I'll clone this. And we'll say this will be, Internet Glover Road that I want to add this to. So there's my Glover Road, so I can pop that open. Now this will have been cloned with a site, so I'm going to change that site. So I can go through sort of qualifications. I'll do 200E Glover Road. We'll add that in. You can go through this kind of address match process, but it matches straight away because we've used the primary address, the OnNet database in both cases, qualify it. So it's coming back qualified, and we can click change. So now we've got our Glover Road address up here. I might want to just do a brief edit on this, and we'll say, well, let's downgrade the bandwidth to 250, 100. We'll still take a 12-month contract, and we'll click save. So that's saved. I might be pretty happy with that, and I can go back to my quote. And so we've got our Glover Road site, and we've got our TPAPA site. You can see the configurations there. And yeah, so what I'm going to do next is sort of go ahead and clone this entire quote and then make some changes. So we end up with two. Let's go ahead and say actions, and we can discard the quote. Let's clone it in this case. And so, maybe we decide, okay, there's actually an upsell opportunity here, so we can clone this. So we've cloned our line items, and so let's actually say step into each of these line items. We'll reconfigure them and look to say increase the bandwidth on both these. So we'll move them up to say 500, 250, or let's move, yeah, 500, 250 sounds good. And I can leave the rest of that intact, so we can save that. We might want to up the next one as well, so we can go in there. And yeah, let's up this to 1,500. We've got some options for variances in here as well. So there's only one variance which has been configured, which is a monthly discount. So I might apply a discount to that, for example. Which, did I actually add that properly? Oh, I'm not sure why that's not popping up. We'll have to take a note of that one. And then we can save this. So if we go back to our quote, we've now got those 2 line items there, and we might want to add in a new one. So let's select in, say, Zoom. And say, so we'll add in some users, maybe 20 basic users. I think these particular products have some tiering on them, so you can see we're sitting in this, so some of these different pricing brackets. We'll add that in as well. And then if we add, say, Office 365, so this Office 365 users, and again, this is sort of tiered pricing. We'll pretty much leave that as is, and we'll add that in. Okay, so we've got looking at our line items now. So we've got our 2 sites, Internet and Glover. We've got our Zoom rooms and 365 users. If we actually go back to our opportunity here, don't know why that blocked me. Okay, so we've got our New Zealand sites, Internet and Cloud, with our 2 totals here. We can see the two total prices. They're both in a draft state. So I can present both of those to the customer and then decide which one I want to go ahead with. As we discussed when we're looking at the roadmap, we've got primary quotes coming up next month. So that'll let you flag one of these as a primary and then map or automatically map the total price up to the amount here against your op. Yeah. So let's assume that we're happy with this quote and we want to start pushing it through a process. So up here you've got request quote, and effectively you can request your quote here, and that moves it through to the a pricing review stage. And this is probably where your own Salesforce processes will pick up this particular order and then begin a deal approval process. So by the end of next month, we'll effectively have an event that comes through from Telflow into the Salesforce platform events, and you can subscribe to those events and then trigger your own workflows and your own Salesforce processes as those events come through. So for now, we've just got a manual kind of process here. So we'll generate the quote and then we can go ahead and submit our order. So effectively, this takes us into Telflow. So if I was now looking at, as a back of house operator, I'll see that, okay, well, there's actually an in progress order that's come in, and we can see that this is our top level quote, and we've got a couple of line items sitting here. So we're not really going to showcase much in Telflow, but there'd be business processes against each of these configured to actually fulfill those on your network, coordinate any activities with human tasks. This has been set up in a really, really simple way. So I can just pop these open, I can click accept order, and I can complete the order. I'll do that for the other item as well here. So I'll accept the order, and we'll complete the order. both line items are complete, so I can complete the actual, parent order container here. I think for our next demo, we'll have some automated processes wired up at each of the layers here. So this whole thing will just shoot through to completion straight away. If we go back to our order here, you can see that we're now in a complete state. And actually our inventory over here on the right-hand side, that was at 2 previously, but you can actually see that's now up to 4, because we've had another couple of internet services that have been activated.